Another troubling death of a young star from the film and reality television industry. Shefali Jariwala, known to millions across the country and the world as the woman who featured in the iconic Kaanta Laga music video from many years ago, shot to fame in the Bigg Boss reality show, at 42 years is now dead. She had a cardiac arrest, but the circumstances surrounding her death continue to raise many questions. She was only 42 years old, in the prime of her life, someone who went to the gym every day, who ate healthy, who had a bustling social media presence, constantly talked about living the good life, but living it healthily, and she is now dead, raising huge questions over what happened to Shefali. Was there an existing precondition? There is talk of epilepsy and other things right now, or could it be something else altogether? Remember that Shefali is the latest in a string of young stars who've succumbed to a cardiac arrest. Now, this is not for a moment to suggest that all of these are related or connected. They are all very, very specific and separate cases, and we want to make absolutely clear here on NDTV that we will not speculate. We will only get our reporters and expert voices to talk about this, because Shefali may be one person, but she was a well-known star with a huge fan base in India and across the world, and in her death, there will be questions answered about health that involves us all. Here on NDTV, we will do that. Let's get you the headlines right now. Shefali Jariwala was her name. She was 42 years old, best known from Bigg Boss and the Kaanta Laga music video. Fans, colleagues and friends mourn the star who's gone too soon. The post-mortem is underway. She very likely died of a cardiac arrest. The Kolkata rape horror continues to explode on the political battlefield. Fourth accused has been arrested. A guard from the college campus has also been arrested. The survivor says the accused threatened to kill her and her boyfriend. Shameless Trinamool member of parliament says, how can the police be everywhere? Justifies what happened. It's Prada's big namaste in the wake of NDTV's big agenda-setting newsbreak of how they've used Kolhapuris without giving India and artisans credit. The $6 billion Italian fashion powerhouse acknowledges India and says it will work with artisans in Maharashtra and is in touch with the Maharashtra government. Two arrested for poisoning a tigress in Karnataka. The accused had poisoned a tigress and her 4 cubs. Shattering story from Karnataka. NDTV leads with this newsbreak. 18 killed in horrifying flash floods in Pakistan's Swat Valley. Viral images of tourists and citizens trapped right in the middle of the deluge go viral all over the world. No chopper to rescue a stranded family. Huge anger against the Pakistan government for failing to rescue the people on your screen. Shefali Jariwala dies at 42 years. The Bigg Boss star, most recently, also known for her huge presence. She was someone who featured and shot to fame, national and international fame, in the Kaanta Laga video from many years ago. And she is dead at 42. We still do not know what Shefali Jariwala died of. She went to the gym constantly. She ate healthy. It is likely she had some kind of a precondition. We do not want to speculate on what that may have been, but her death has sent out shockwaves in a film and television industry that has been rocked by the shocking deaths of young stars on a regular basis over the last few years. Doctors continue to be tight-lipped, but NDTV continues to track this developing story. The post-mortem of Shefali Jariwala is on right now in Mumbai, at the hospital where she passed away. Her sudden death has come as a big shock. She was not known to have been suffering, at least not known outside her private or inner circle. Bigg Boss stars have come out to mourn the loss of Shefali Jariwala, the latest in a string of young stars who've lost their lives for different reasons. I want to quickly bring in our reporters first because we need to first try and get a fix of what all we know so far, because it's important to be correct with the facts. There are families watching. There is a huge fan base of Shefali Jariwala watching as well. I want to go to Abira first. Abira, you're at the Cooper Hospital where this happened. The post-mortem, we understand, is taking place as you bring us this report. What can you tell us about that? There continues to be a question over what precisely happened and whether Shefali had some kind of a precondition.
Yes, Shiv, we have been here since morning. The post-mortem started now and the family is here, the husband is here, her sister is here, Shefali Jariwala. All family friends are here. Right now, Hindustani Bhau, he's known as Hindustani Bhau. They met, in Bigg Boss house and they were very close to each other, Shefali and him. She used to tie Rakhi to him every year, and he came out and he was crying and he said that wo meri beti jaisi thi. Right now we are outside Cooper Hospital where the post-mortem is on, and we don't want to speculate. According to reports, it was a cardiac arrest, but we have to wait and watch what really the post-mortem reports say, and then only we can confirm what was the reason behind her death. Like you said, she was fit, she used to exercise, she used to do everything to keep healthy, because also it's a part of her job. But yes, this is a sad truth that we lost her at such an early age, at 42.
42 years old, no age to go, and that's what's most shocking about this. I'm going to come back to Sujata, who's outside Shefali's residence in just a moment. But before that, just want to give you a quick overview on Shefali Jariwala herself. This was the music video, of course, that made her most famous, brought her into everyone's living rooms. This was that music video of Kaanta Laga that made her a household name all over the world, really. She was an actor and model, music videos, reality TV star as well, known as the Kaanta Laga girl. That was her big breakout moment that made her a global celebrity. Also became a household name with her performance in that song. And remember, it wasn't just a music video. She used to travel globally performing in concerts for that song, featured in Salman's movie, Mujhse Shaadi Karogi. And years later, transitioned to reality shows where she had her second big win as a celebrity as part of the Nach Baliye and Bigg Boss franchises in terms of reality television. Siddharth Shukla was her co-contestant. Remember, the late Siddharth Shukla, also a big star. He was there with Shefali in Bigg Boss. Remember, Siddharth Shukla had also passed away of a heart attack. We're not connecting the two absolutely, but there are big questions over this. Let me go to Sujata Dwivedi, who joins us live now from outside Shefali Jariwala's residence. Sujata, condolence visits and messages have been pouring in since the morning. There's a sense of shock over this. What are you being able to pick up? Was Shefali suffering from some illness, from some precondition? Because from her social media and the general sense about Shefali, she was healthy, she led a healthy lifestyle, she used to work out, etc. But people have their own private lives. It's not always easy to tell what they're suffering from. What can you tell us, Sujata?
Well, certainly.
More information about the epilepsy angle. I just wanted to show you that Shefali Jariwala, like I said, is only the latest among a string of young stars who've lost their lives in the recent past to heart attacks and other, and other ailments. Siddharth Shukla is the first name that actually comes to mind. His is a case that also sent out absolute shockwaves in 2021. He, in fact, participated in the same Bigg Boss season that Shefali Jariwala was in as well. His death was a similar shock, given that Siddharth Shukla was, as you can see, a health freak, used to go to the gymnasium a lot. So Siddharth Shukla was one of the first. but there are many more as well. Puneet Rajkumar of Karnataka, also a young star who died. The Kannada star also died in 2021. This was similarly very, very shocking. The circumstances surrounding his death also sent out a pall of gloom. And if I remember correctly, he passed away very shortly after Siddharth Shukla, the second young star of that generation to die in a similar way. He had also died of a heart attack. Then you had singer KK, who passed away in 2022, during a concert in Kolkata. These were shocking images in that year when the singer had actually passed away. The previous year, Raj Kaushal, the director and producer, had died of a cardiac arrest. In 2022, comedian Raju Srivastav also suffered a heart attack and died. This also came as a shock. He died at the age of 58, not quite young, but again, a star of a cardiac arrest. And Satish Kaushik passed away at the age of 66. So there have been a string of cases, not all of the people young, but this is just to give you a sense of people within the film industry who generally look after themselves, passing away of a heart attack. So I'm going to line up the epilepsy angle that we've had for you. People are talking about this, and we want to be on NDTV very, very careful about mentioning any of these things until there is clarity from either the family or the doctors. But from what friends and relatives have been saying about Shefali, there does appear to be an epilepsy angle. Let me just bring you some clarity on that right now. She's died at 42 years old. There is a post-mortem that's happening right now. But we do also know right now, and this is a matter of public record because she has mentioned this in interviews, that Shefali Jariwala had an epilepsy seizure at the age of 15. Now, we cannot say for sure what precisely was the seriousness of this in her current situation, but she was under pressure at that time to do well in studies. Shefali Jariwala has spoken about this in interviews. Stress and anxiety can lead to seizures, is what experts say regarding her condition. You could get seizures due to depression as well. Again, sensitive territory, so we want to be careful about how we report this. She got seizures in classrooms, backstage, on roads. This delves, remember, into the private life of a star who is no longer here to talk about her condition. I couldn't work, didn't know when I would get my next seizure. These are all quotes from Shefali Jariwala in public interviews at this point of time. Didn't know when I would get that next seizure is truly a terrifying sort of comment for a person who was very much in the public eye, who was in, on stage, in concerts, in front of thousands of people on literally a daily or weekly basis, not just in India, but across the world. And therefore, for something like this to happen to her with this kind of past that we know about leads to many questions about how and what could have happened to her. I want to go back to Abira for a moment, who is at the Cooper Hospital where this postmortem is taking place. Abira, this epilepsy aspect of Shefali Jariwala's life, she was a person who shot to enormous fame with Kaanta Laga, became an absolute household celebrity. Nobody needed a second introduction as to who Shefali Jariwala was. She was literally known as the Kaanta Laga girl. Then she had her second big sort of celebrity wave with Bigg Boss. And she'd carved out a whole sort of presence and celebrity fandom, if I can say so, with her own personality. She was very recognizable. She had a very unique look as well. But was this epilepsy aspect known to people, that she, may have suffered from depression and anxiety living in the public eye?
Shiv, what we know, what she has said, we will not ever report something that is a speculative or somebody according to sources. This is in her interview. She has gone ahead and said when she was 15 years old, she was diagnosed with epilepsy, and after that, okay, the ambulance is here at the Cooper Hospital. Families have sorry, I'm just interrupting. The families have left from the hospital. Her husband is still inside. The ambulance is here to take the body. So we are just waiting for an update from the officials on this. But to continue to what I was saying is, she said in an interview that the epilepsy started when she was 15 years old, and she has gone through these epileptic attacks and seizures constantly for 15 years. But it is not sure if she was still taking epilepsy medication or not. That only the doctors can tell us. But yes, she was always very open to this. She wanted people to know more about this disease and should be open to talking about it. So she has gone ahead and talked about it.
I just want to show our viewers what's happening behind Abira right now. Abira, if you could just point your camera at that big crowd of media behind you. These are live pictures, viewer, and I know there is interest in this story, so I want to show you as much as I possibly can. There's a large group of reporters there, and on NDTV we will report with a great deal of care. But there's a huge amount of interest in what happened to Shefali Jariwala. These are images from inside the hospital. We will not be crossing any barriers or boundaries to report this story. We will do so with a great sense of responsibility. But as you can see, a large media presence outside the Cooper Hospital, where Abira is reporting live from since this morning. It just gives you a sense of the level of interest in what happened to Shefali. Sujata, let me bring you in the epilepsy aspect. And I completely agree with Abira. We need to be careful reporting these points as far as somebody's past health record is concerned. But from the people you've been speaking to outside Shefali's residence, are you picking up any of those things about anxiety, depression, epilepsy, seizures, etc.? These are things she has said in her interviews.
Well, yes, and though to tell you that since morning we are here outside our residence, though we tried talking to a few of our neighbors, but they refused to talk on camera first, and secondly that Shefali though was a public face and she was in the media, but she was not that friendly or not that communicative with her neighbors, so they definitely do not have any idea about her past records, especially her health records, though it was a few of these members of the society who did tell us that she used to often come out to walk with her husband and her pet dog, who she was very close with. And since morning we've seen that some of the paparazzi as well as her fans though are crossing and passing by and trying to inquire about what exactly happened, is she fine or not, but also they are sad with the news that she is no more. And at the same time it is the police officials who since morning are at her residence trying to investigate and find out, after which we'll be able to officially report on the main cause of death and also the past medical records that she was dealing with. Over to you.
Sujata, thanks very much for that. Shreya Ghosh also with me live on this story, and Shreya tracks health for us. Shreya, anything that you're picking up from health experts, medical experts about this? Obviously, each of these cases is different. Many people are irresponsibly tempted to draw parallels and draw patterns in these deaths. What are you picking up from the experts you've been speaking to?
Well, of course, we've seen a series of such deaths. If we talk about the celebrities, we know Shefali Jariwala, then before that we had Siddharth Shukla, then KK. They're definitely stark examples of young celebrities who are, who lost their lives due to sudden cardiac arrest. And this definitely highlights a growing health crisis. The experts are telling us that it goes on to reflect our modern lifestyle, be it, of course, the sedentary habits that we have, desk jobs, long commutes, and screen addiction, the constant doom scrolling. We don't realize it, but that definitely affects our stress levels. It increases the cortisol levels and blood pressure. These are the death traps which are invisible on a day-to-day basis. But these kind of habits, like lack of physical activity, too much of social media consumption, can also play a great contributing factor to health. To cardiac arrest, especially amongst young people. And of course, there are existing, genetic predispositions in many Indians that carry, the history of heart diseases, which often go undiagnosed. It doesn't go diagnosed, especially in women. So of course, there should be more awareness on these related to the symptoms, be it fatigue or mid-chest pain, or the kind of habits that a modern lifestyle, uh, uh, you know, uh, kind of gives, which leads
Okay.
to increasing chances of cardiac arrest amongst young people, particularly. And we have been
No,
seeing
this is an
trend even
important point that
into
you're raising.
senior
You know, the
doctors.
cardiac arrest among young people is something that has drawn a huge amount of interest. I remember in 2022 when Siddharth Shukla had passed away, there was an enormous explosion of interest, especially on social media, among young Indians about whether youngsters are as susceptible to heart attacks as older people or cardiac patients are. And there were some unanswered questions as far as that was concerned. And until we get a fix on why or what, what killed Shefali Jariwala, what caused her death, there will be those questions which will come up. And I promise that here on NDTV, we will try and bring in some health experts as well in a short while from now to try and answer some of those questions, because we understand that people have those questions as well. I want to show you what the security guard at Shefali Jariwala's residence has told reporters just a short while ago. Remember, so far he's the only one who has been spoken to.
कल आप 8 बजे यहाँ पे थे, फिर 8 बजे के बाद गाड़ी निकली यहाँ से?
गाड़ी तो निकली है लगभग 10 सवा 10 बजे। जैसे गाड़ी आई मैं गेट खोल दिया। गेट गाड़ी के अंदर क्या था नहीं था वो भी नहीं मैं देख पाया।
अब नहीं देख पाए।
गाड़ी स्पीड में गई चली गई।
शिफाली उतरती थी नीचे?
परसों देखा था मैं।
शिफाली को?
हाँ
अकेले
परसों
किसी
देखा
तरह?
था, दोनों थे, मियाँ बीवी दोनों थे, कुत्ता लेकर के उतरे थे।
और जब ये निकले यहाँ से 10:15 बजे, उसके बाद कोई आया? कोई अंदर उनके दोस्त यार कुछ आके पूछ रहे थे?
नहीं तो 1 बजे रात में शायद कोई आया था। 1 बजे में कोई आया था उधर से, वो भी बुलेट से। बोले थे कि ये इसको जानते हो? तो मैं बोला हाँ इसको तो मैं जानता हूँ। बोला डेट कर गया, तो मुझे मालूम चला कि वो डेट कर गया। तो मुझे तो कोई कन्फर्म ही नहीं है किसी, मतलब यहाँ से मुझे कहीं जाना ही नहीं होता है। परसों में देखा था मैं, इसके उससे पहले तो कई रोज तो नहीं देख रहा था, लेकिन परसों देखा था मैडम को उतरते हुए। दोनों थे, लेकिन कुत्ता था साथ में और दोनों मियाँ बीवी दोनों थे। वो गाड़ी के पास खड़े थे। हाँ खड़े थे। फिर वहाँ से चले गए अब वापस। उसके पति को तो मैं कल भी देखा, इधर मोटरसाइकिल से आया। जैसे मैं ड्यूटी पर आया हूँ 8 बजे, तो 9 सवा 9 के टाइम में इधर मोटरसाइकिल से आया है। हाँ मोटरसाइकिल लगाने के बाद ही ये गाड़ी से निकला है, इधर से आया कहीं से।
Well, Shefali's close friend and co-star on Bigg Boss, Bindu Dara Singh, and others from the film fraternity have also come out with their messages, and NDTV spoken to each one of them. Take a look at this.
I'm a very big fan of Bigg Boss, and when she had gone into the Bigg Boss house, I really loved her. She was just fantastic. It looked like she's a beauty with brains, and I wanted to meet her. And then I met her husband, Parag, who's also a wonderful, wonderful guy who really loves her. We supported her along with Siddharth Shukla. We knew Siddharth would win, but Shefali was there, and she was like a tigress. And I did call her a tigress, I remember. And then I got the opportunity to work with her. We did a couple of shows together, and she was always smiling, never stressed. Always, she seemed very, very, a lovely soul who's really worked her way up, who's gone through a share of hardships, and who's doing perfectly well, and who loves exercise, who loves health, who loves fitness. Both the husband and the wife both loved fitness. So that's why this is a shocker that at 42, if a person can pass away, she did have some problems in her life with epilepsy and some seizures, but to get a heart attack for a fit person, it's really giving us shock waves through everywhere. I mean, so much of love, so much of uh, future for her was there, very, very bright. She was doing very well. Everybody loved her, the Kaanta Laga girl. That's how we all called her, and the whole world called her. It's gone too soon. We were at a wedding event, and she did Kaanta Laga. I watched that on stage. And then we had this DH Discovery music systems, which we presented. And I gave her a beautiful music system, and I told her, Shefali, video banana. She says, Bindu ji, pakka jaise main free hoti hu, banaungi. But I guess she was very busy, and she kept traveling. Then she went to Australia. She did shows in Australia, and she's just come back from Australia, I think a couple of weeks, 1 or 2 weeks back. And we was expecting that video, but we got this very, very sad news. So everybody loved her, and whenever she was there, she never troubled us ever. If we had an event with her, we knew that if we tell Shefali that you have to come down at 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock it is, and on the dot, and never ever any fancy some rubbish that I want this or I want that. She was absolutely perfect. Like she'll be missed. I was planning to have a Mitsubishi trip for the Mitsubishi company, and I wanted to take her there too. But I guess it's not going to be happening anymore.
It's a big shock to everybody. क्योंकि I still remember her face, always smiling, always dignified, always calm. हमेशा मैं उनको social events पे ही मिला हूँ. Always उनके husband उनके साथ होते थे. Always they looked very romantic, दोनों husband wife. He would be always protective of her, taking care of her. एंड हम हमेशा रैंडम चीज़ें बात करते थे, बट हमेशा हमारा एक ही जो कॉमन टॉपिक था, दैट वाज अबाउट म्यूज़िक और म्यूज़िक वीडियोस, फ्यूचर ऑफ इंडियन एंटरटेनमेंट और गानों के बारे में. तो मैं हमेशा पूछा था, आप कब वापस आ रहे हो, कब आप एक फिर से धमाकेदार म्यूज़िक वीडियो कर रहे हो. तो उनका जो लास्ट लाइन अभी भी मेरे कानों में गूंज रहा था, जबकि वो बहुत फंक्शन था, बहुत म्यूज़िक था. उन्होंने कहा वो दौर कभी वापस नहीं आएगा. वैसे गाने मुझे कभी और मिले नहीं, और I don't think that will ever happen. That I remember very clearly. She was very calm, very cordial to everyone, and she was a very dignified person. Both husband wife बहुत प्यार से सबसे बात करते थे. And I used to watch them together. They looked so much in love, young love. Unbelievable that she's no more, उनका वही फेस याद आ रहा है, उनका डॉल, she was a living doll, I think. She looked like a doll. बस उनका वो फेस याद आ रहा है. फिर उनके बिग बॉस के इंसिडेंट्स याद आ रहे हैं, फिर उनके गाने. फिर उन्होंने एक फ़िल्म भी किया था अक्षय कुमार के साथ, मुझसे शादी करोगे, जिन पर उनका एक छोटा सा वो सीन था अक्षय कुमार के साथ. तो वो सब याद आ रहा है. एक्चुअली कल रात को जब ये इंसिडेंट हुआ, मैं एक फंक्शन में ही था, तो ये न्यूज़ जैसे आया हम सब दोस्त शॉक हो गए. इनफैक्ट हमारी पार्टी ख़त्म हो गई, क्योंकि और मन ही नहीं किया, बिकॉज वी न्यू हर एंड वी न्यू हर एज अ सेलिब्रिटी, एज अ डांसर, एज अ पर्सन. एंड कल रात को आई थिंक अराउंड 2 o'clock को ये इंसिडेंट हुआ, जब मैंने पढ़ा अराउंड 2:15 समथिंग, एंड I was like, I could not believe what is happening to this world. It is unbelievable, but I don't know exactly what is the matter.
आपको लगता है कि आपके फील्ड में, मतलब हम देख रहे हैं कई सारे ऐसे जिम फ्रीक्स होते हैं जो जिम में वो वर्कआउट कर रहे हैं, तभी उन्हें हार्ट अटैक आ जा रहा है. अभी ये भी इतनी फिट थी, ये इतनी, मतलब इन्हें एक जिम फ्रीक ही कहा जाता था, योगा भी करती थी. आपको लगता है कि थोड़ा सा ये स्कैरी है?
It is very scary for gym freak. That's why I never take supplements. No pre, no post. मुझे सब बोलते हैं यार तू you should take more of these things, and everybody shaker के साथ खाते रहते हैं. I avoid that. I eat healthy. I breathe healthy. I think healthy. But it is alarming because I've seen people going to washrooms and taking injections. I've seen that. जो पहले मैं समझ नहीं पाता था कि 2 लड़के अंदर जाके क्या कर रहे हैं, क्या क्यों ले रहे हैं, but बाद में मैं समझा. So it is their how they want to do and what price they are willing to pay. I've always seen side effects of all this, where extreme dieting वजह से skin and hair खराब हो जाता है, and then your mental health and your physical health also suffers.
And I want to get a word in from a healthcare expert. Dr. Swapan Gupta is a very well-known senior neurologist with the GB Pant Hospital in the national capital. Dr. Gupta, thanks very much for speaking to NDTV. I do understand, and I want to be very careful with our coverage here, because we still do not know precisely what happened to Shefali Jariwala. Her post-mortem at the Cooper Hospital in Mumbai is still very much on. We have very scant details from her past interviews regarding epilepsy and anxiety and things like that. She's suffered from seizures as well. And therefore, we would rather get experts like you to, talk us through some of these issues rather than speculate here on NDTV. So I want to be very clear about that. But, Shefali, Dr. Gupta, has in the past talked about stress and anxiety leading to seizures. How she has lived in fear of, when she might get seizures. She has got seizures in classrooms, backstage, on the road during her, very, very public life. Can you tell us what all these things are, sir? Epilepsy and seizures.
Yeah, this news, when it came, it was a shocking news to all of us. But yes, we also know that epilepsy, what she was suffering from, can lead to sudden deaths. It's a known incidence. So it is known as, in medical parlance, it is known as sudden unexpected death during epileptic attack or in epilepsy. In short, we call it as SUDEP. Till the final reports of forensic comes up, we are not sure whether she had SUDEP or not. But yes, it is true. A person with epilepsy can have sudden death, the cause of which may not be very clear, and it is known as SUDEP. So epilepsy can lead to sudden death. All the more because, as far as I know, she was not suffering from any heart disease per se. So a person without any pre-morbid heart disease suffering from de novo or first-time heart attack is quite rare. But she was suffering from epilepsy, which could lead to sudden death, and it is known as SUDEP. But again, we have to see that she did not had any seizures right now. When she was found out in this position, there was no telltale evidence of seizures.
Yeah.
Till forensic reports come, we have to wait. Yes.
No, you're absolutely right. We don't want to jump the gun or speculate on that. We do not know for a fact that Shefali, suffered any seizures recently or in the recent years. We are not clear about that. We do know she suffered from them when she was a teenager and she suffered that anxiety. But Dr. Gupta, my second question to you would be that Shefali was someone who was known to, keep very fit. A healthy lifestyle was very much part of her vibe and her persona in public, on social media, etc. Very often, exuded that entire healthy lifestyle vibe as well. How does that fit in with this kind of a condition?
So this SUDEP, what I just told about, is actually the unfortunate part is it affects young people, less than 45 years of age, who are actually fit, except that they are having seizures. Otherwise, they don't have any other problems in the body. So, and this disease, epilepsy, leading to this sudden deaths is without any other heart disease or lung disease. That is the unfortunate part of it. It occurs almost, we see one patient in every 1,000 patients in a year. So it is quite rare, but not very rare too. So that is the problem, that it happens in hale and hearty people, young people without any other disease.
The young people watching this, Dr. Gupta, will be very tempted to see a pattern of some kind between, celebrity deaths especially, because, we live in an age when misinformation proliferates much more speedily than verified, authentic information and coverage like the ones we're putting out here on NDTV. Siddharth Shukla was another young star who led a healthy lifestyle, who passed away in 2022. Now you had KK, another singer who also passed away from some kind of a heart condition at that time. And now you have Shefali Jariwala. I want you to speak to that particular concern that young people have, that young people are suddenly, falling prey to this kind of thing. Is that true or is that not true, sir?
Yes, that is true. Over 20 years in my career, I have seen that incidences of heart attacks and brain attacks have rather increased in younger people. 20 years back, we used to see it much more common in elderly.
Yeah.
And a young patient coming with a heart attack would be a rare event. But nowadays, it has become quite common. And yes, stress, rising incidences of depression, anxiety are to be blamed on. So actually, people are mostly concerned about physical fitness. But actually, on the other hand, we are neglecting a major part, which is mental illness. And there is now ample studies, data to suggest that poor mental health also leads to poor physical parameters in the body, especially a toll on your heart and the brain, especially. Yes.
While we continue to decode and ask the questions regarding epilepsy and seizures, and any connections to a heart attack. And even at this point of time, Dr. Gupta, there obviously is a distinction between a heart attack and a cardiac arrest, and there are very many smaller distinctions to be made. Those of us who are not in the medical fraternity tend to lump these all as one kind of condition, led by stress and anxiety. But there are many different possibilities. Isn't that true? And that's the reason why it's important to wait for that postmortem.
Yes, you are right. Body is one, so no organ works in isolation.
Yeah.
With advances in genetics, we now know that there are genetic changes which occur simultaneously affect both the brain and the heart. And this SUDEP, which I just talked about, there are experiments and research which shows that there are channelopathies. So there are some genetic mutations which affect simultaneously both the heart, leading to heart attacks, and the brain, leading to seizures or strokes. So there could be such possibility. Actually, the problem is genetics in such cases are not done routinely. So she might be suffering from one of those disorders. We are not clear. It's just we can just contemplate till we have the final results. But yes, it could be possible that single genetic disease could lead to seizures as well as heart disease. Yes.
That one particular final question, Dr. Gupta, before I let you go with thanks, is Shefali Jariwala in those interviews talked about how, she had those epileptic seizures at the age of 15. She was in the public eye, under pressure to do well in studies, which is normal for, everyone in the country. But also that, stress and anxiety, like you correctly said, can lead to seizures. But also that she was sort of living in a kind of state of constant anxiety about when her next seizure would happen, which was a problem for her because she lived in the public eye. She performed in music videos. She was on stage in front of the public, in the public eye. And therefore, that was also a functional problem as far as her career was concerned, and may have explained why she took a long break before actually returning on Bigg Boss. So I want to ask you about that, the anxiety over when that next seizure would come from.
Yeah. So because anxiety is intimately related to disease like epilepsy, almost 40% of the patients with epilepsy have anxiety, and almost 30% would have significant stress, and almost 20 to 30% would have clinical depression.
Yes.
So the problem is both diseases increase each other. So they are friends to each other, but a problem to the patient. If you have anxiety and stress, it will further aggravate your epilepsy attacks. And more epilepsy means more stress and anxiety. So it becomes a vicious cycle. And that she truly said that whenever she would have an epileptic attack, because the society is not able to accept it as a normal brain disease, people take it as a social stigma.
Correct.
You have to face lots of stigma from society, increasing the stress and the anxiety levels, and which further aggravates the epilepsy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you saying that, stigma is also part of why there continues to be a secrecy over such issues? We are talking about it openly right now, but, when Shefali was 15, 16 years old, we're talking about, a few decades ago. Things have certainly changed now, doctor. People are able to speak about these conditions now, but clearly there still is a stigma.
Yeah. So we are currently undergoing research wherein we are actually looking at what are the people's family or around. The results are yet to be out for this study, but preliminary studies show that people still feel that they should not have a person in their family who is suffering from epilepsy, or rather they slightly socially outcast them. Nobody is ready to marry such a person. So there's lots of still awareness which is required in the society.
Dr. Swapan Gupta, very grateful to you for helping us navigate and demystify some of the unanswered questions in a story we still do not fully understand, but it does help us at least navigate some of the questions being raised by what we don't know just yet. This is a developing story. I should continue to tell our viewers as we report it sensitively and only with facts here on NDTV. This is a huge fan base of Shefali Jariwala who is mourning her, a family and a friend base also who are at her residence at this point of time. And we will be taking you there to give you this live coverage of the death of a young star. 42-year-old Shefali Jariwala, the Kaanta Laga girl, is no more. Our coverage continues on the other side. Stay with NDTV.